previous class we have discussed about competition and predation. In this class we will be talking about commensalism and amensalism. So let's start with the commensalism. Commensalism means one species is getting benefited and the another one is getting neutral. So in the first class we have studied that if there is a beneficial one, we will keep it as positive, and if it is a neutral one, we will keep it as 0. So here in commensalism what happens is one is getting benefited and another is getting neither harm or benefited. It's in a neutral state. So the most important part in commensalism is the examples. So let's learn each and every one of them. So the first example is orchid on mango tree. So orchids are epiphytes in nature. So they are present on the top of the trees. So these orchids uses mango tree for photosynthesis and for support and the better light exposure. So here these are getting all these benefits. So orchids are getting all these benefits. But there is no use of mango tree. For mango tree there is no benefit or no harmfulness from the orchid. So that's the reason why here they are getting in the neutral stage and here they are getting benefit. So commensalism. And barnacles on whales. So if you remember in the competition we have studied about barnacles. So that's a different barnacles. There are two different kinds of barnacles competing for a different region, a particular region. Here barnacles are present on whales. So these barnacles are present on whales so that they can be transported from one part of the ocean to the another part of the ocean. So here the barnacles are getting benefited, but there is no use or no harm for the whales. So if you see here, the orchids are getting benefited and the mango tree is not getting any benefit nor harmfulness. It's in a neutral state. In the same way here, barnacles are getting benefit like transportation from one part of the ocean to the another part of the ocean. So here if we take whales, it is neither getting harmless nor it is neither getting any benefit from the barnacles. So we call it as commensalism. And the third example is cattle aggregate and cattle grazing, which means cattle aggregate is a bird. So it's like a crane. So when the cattle is grazing some grass or something, so some of the grass, like some of the ground part will come out because of force. So on the ground we will find some kind of small microorganisms or small insects in there. So these insects are useful for this bird, cattle aggregate. So they get the food when the cattle grazes something like grass. So here the cattle aggregate, a bird is getting benefited and there is no harmless or there is no positivity or there is no benefit for the grazing cattle. So these are commensalism. Sorry, here we should write 0. And the fourth example is sea anemone and clownfish. So clownfish. So if you have seen Nemo, I think you will know about the clownfish, the orange colored one. So clownfish, so when they see predators, they want to escape from them. So these clownfish, they go into the sea anemone like tentacles. These sea anemone tentacles are too much poisonous. So the predators cannot come and they cannot fight with them, they cannot take the clownfish. You might ask me, sir, you are saying that sea anemone tentacles are too harmful and poisonous and they are affecting the other fishes, but why not clownfish? Because clownfish have a mucilaginous layer which protects them from the sea anemone tentacles. In this way, the clownfish is getting protection from the predators and here the sea anemone is not getting anything from the clownfish. So neutral usually. So this is what commensalism is. So here the most important things are examples. Commensalism means one organism is getting benefited and the other organism is neither getting the benefit nor the harmfulness. It's in a neutral state, plus 0. The main examples of this are orchid and mango tree. Orchid is an epiphyte, so it needs a long trees. So it stays on the long trees, like so that it can get the photosynthesis, so it can get the enough light and it can get the good support. So all these things are provided by the mango tree. In return, they are not expecting anything from the orchid tree. So it's in a neutral state and it is getting benefited. And here we have barnacles on whales. So these barnacles are present on whales. So these whales help them in transportation from one place, one part of the ocean to another part of the ocean. So here the barnacles are getting benefited and whales are neither getting benefit nor harmfulness. The third one is cattle-agrate and grazing cattle. So cattle-agrate is a bird which feeds on grazing animals. Grazing animals means while the cattle are grazing the animals, while they are plucking out the grass, there will be some small microorganisms which are present on the ground. So these cattle-agrate a bird which feeds on those microorganisms. In this way, the cattle-agrate will get the benefit and there is no use for the grazing cattle. The grazing cattle is neither getting the benefit nor getting any harmfulness. But aggregate cattle, so cattle-agrate is getting some food because of grazing cattle. And the fourth example is sea anemone and clownfish. So clownfish we can see it in Nemo movie, and the clownfish, so in order to escape from the predators, it comes and hides in the sea anemone. So sea anemone is like this. So sea anemone, so this fish comes and hides in this. So these tentacles are too much poisonous, so that the predator cannot come and they cannot attack the clownfish. And you might ask me, sir, you are saying that these tentacles are poisonous, but how can this clownfish can survive with this? Because the clownfish has some adaptive mechanism which can withstand the poisonous thing. So they have a specialized layer on their body which protects them from the sea anemone. So these are the examples of commensalism. So now let's go into amensalism, which is exact opposite to this. Here, one organism is getting harmful, like one is getting affected, and neither one of the organisms is not getting benefit nor anything. So here, one is getting harm and another is getting neither harm nor the benefit. So example of this is Allopathy jubilon in walnut tree. So what this walnut tree does is, so they releases some kind of enzymes or chemicals. So So there is a walnut tree. So they releases some kind of chemicals or some kind of enzymes onto the ground. What these enzymes does is, they won't let other plants to grow on the land. Where these enzymes are present, they cannot let the other organisms or plants to grow on it. So here, this walnut tree is getting neither benefit nor harmfulness. So it is in a neutral state. But the other trees are getting in a negative way. They are getting harmful because they cannot grow when there is a walnut tree in an area. So this is Amensalism example. And we have another example, Penicillium and bacteria. So Penicillium is a fungi. So it releases penicillin and it kills bacteria. So for bacteria, it is a negative effect. But for fungi, it is nothing. It is nothing, like releasing penicillin is nothing for them. It is neither useful for them nor beneficial for them. So here, it is a neutral state. It won't get any benefit or it won't get any harmful by releasing penicillin. But releasing penicillin will kill the bacteria. So this is an example of amensalism. And third one we have seaweeds and corals. So same here. So when the seaweeds are present, it releases some chemicals and won't let other organisms to come near these places. Or they won't allow the corals to grow in this region. So here the seaweeds are getting nothing. But the corals or the different organisms or plants, sea plants, are getting affected because of this. So this is about amensalism. So amensalism, here one organism is getting harmed and the other organism is neither harmed nor getting benefited, which is exactly opposite to commensalism, where one organism is getting benefited and another organism is neither benefited nor harmful. So here we have three examples. Walnut tree. So when a walnut tree is present, it releases a certain chemicals and enzymes which won't let any other tree to grow near its surroundings. So here there is a negative effect on those trees which are present in the surroundings, but there is no use for the walnut tree. So here it's in a Amensalism interaction. And then we have Penicillium and bacteria. So Penicillium fungus, it releases penicillin and kills the bacteria. So negative effect for the bacteria, but there is no use for the fungus Penicillium. So there is no use for them. So it neither benefits them nor harmful for them. So it belongs to Amensalism. And next we have seaweeds and corals. So when the seaweeds are present, it releases a certain chemicals and enzymes which won't let other organisms to come near its surrounding areas. So here the corals are getting affected and seaweeds are neither getting a benefit nor harmful. So this is about Commensalism and Amensalism. So next we will see about Parasitism. So now let's talk about Parasitism. So Parasitism means one organism lives on another organism where it gets the nutrients and it harms the other organism, which means the organism which is living on another organism is known as parasite, and the organism from which the parasite is deriving the nutrients and harming is called as host. And here we have different kinds of examples. So roundworm, and most of the parasites are elements. So roundworms, tapeworms, all this comes under parasites. So here we have ectoparasites and endoparasites. So ectoparasites are ectoderm means what? The outermost layer. So remember this, ecto means external surface. So ecto means external surface. So these parasites are present on the external surface. And coming to the examples, lice in the humans which are present in the hair, and ticks on the dog, small kind of lice-like structures which are present in the dog, and cuscuta, which is a parasitic plant which is present on hedge plants. So these are the examples of ectoparasites. So ectoparasites means the parasites which live on the external surface. And now we have endoparasite. So endoderm means the layer which is present inside. So remember with that, relate with that. Endoparasite means the organisms, the parasites which are present inside the body, which might be liver, which might be kidney or intestine or RBC. So for this we can take tapeworm as an example. And mosquito. Is mosquito a parasite or not? Mosquito is not a parasite, because if you see the definition of parasite, one organism lives in the other organism. So here mosquito is not living in another organism. So it just carries some kind of diseases. That's it. It acts like a vector. So mosquito is a vector. It's not a parasite. It's not a parasite. So here we have one more example, one more important example. Brood parasitism. So here what happens is, there is a bird called cuckoo. So it lays eggs in the other nest, so that it can feel free. So it can get less work. So there is no need to do any work for it. So these eggs looks very similar to the eggs of the crow. So these cuckoo birds lay eggs in the crow nest, and the crow thinks that these eggs are also belongs to mine, so that I will hatch them. So unless the birds come out of the eggs, they don't know that they are from other bird eggs. So this is what brood parasitism means. So bird lays eggs in other nest, and that bird thinks that it doesn't belong to me. Like, it doesn't think like it doesn't belong to me. It thinks that the eggs also belongs to me. So in that way, they will hatch those eggs. So now we have adaptations, parasitic adaptations. In parasitic adaptations, they lost the sense organs. There is no need of sense organs for parasites, and they have a very strong organs for adhesion, which gives the support. So they don't need of, so there is no need of sensory organs, and they have very strong adhesive organs. So now parasites have adaptations. So co-evolution. So now we have. So now the host have evolved because they are getting harmed because of parasites. So what will happen now? The parasites will also get evolved according to them by increasing the adhesive organs or by reducing the sensory organs. So in this way, host and parasite lives in the same way, like they co-evolve each other. So here one is getting benefited and another is getting harmed. So what happens in this brood parasitism means, so there is a bird, so it lays eggs in the other bird's nest. That other bird thinks that this eggs also belongs to me, and it starts hatching them and it starts giving nutrients to them. So this is brood parasitism, sorry. And this is what about parasitism means. So in next class we'll have a very quick revision of what we have discussed in species interaction.